Let's start off 2026 by ending the RSC paycheck exploit being the best money grinding option in GT4 myth. The real money exploit in Gran Turismo 4 is the European DTM Championship, which unlike the Costa di Amalfi races can be done in B-Spec, and winning all 5 races and selling the CLK race car you get as a prize car will land you 893k per playthrough. It takes 10 to 15 minutes to do, and it's even faster on an emulator if you remove the frame limit. For reference, the RSC paycheck will require 8 minutes to get 275k. In Need for Speed Underground 2, there are more teleport glitches that you can do besides the one that I showed in this video. One you can do at the very start of the game. First, you need to turn off autosave and just saving in general. You go to the car lot as normal and pick a car, then reload your save game. Now, when you start the save, you'll have the garage marked on your minimap. When you get to the mark on the minimap, press the button to enter and you'll get warped to the car lot. Other warps you can do by just getting into a specific corner and resetting your car. While you're in stage 1, you can warp up onto the highway past the barriers and access Beacon Hill and Jackson Heights, and the info packets are loaded in, so you can get extra money early and some hints before you were meant to receive them. The split hoods in Underground 2 can trigger an alternate animation if you keep spamming the open-close hood while scrolling through the hoods. More of a fun fact, less of a glitch. You can navigate certain menus with the keyboard or perform specific actions. For example, when in My Cars, when you press C, that triggers the delete this car prompt. There's a similar button for going directly to the post-race results subsection, which on console shows that there is a button for it, but on PC it's hidden. In the reverse layout of the race you do against Caleb, you can just go out of bounds and bang your car against a wall, reset and repeat that, and you'll finish the race quite quick, and the timer freaks out. Shoutouts to Shinju for helping me with all the facts and glitches for Underground 2. In Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition Remix, it's possible to get cars, or rather bikes, for each of C, B, and A class before you unlock the purchasable ones. Phil will give you his Cuevito in San Diego, the second tournament in Atlanta gives the Ducati SS1000, and the Kawasaki Ninja is up for grabs once you unlock Detroit, as then all of the original Riders events are available. On top of that, every car in the Tokyo Challenge are possible to get before you unlock the purchasable A-class cars. One of the cars that you can win in here is the Pagani Zonda, which is amongst the fastest cars in the game. Once you come back to Detroit, you can continue the events in an overpowered car. Need for Speed Pro 3 presents an opposite exploit. The points gained in races depends on the car used, so slower cars, or rather cars the game considers slower, get more points. The situation is similar to Gran Turismo 4, where some cars are valued lower than their actual pace, but in Pro Street that's actually useful since breaking records is needed to unlock the branches to reach each king. This works on emulators, but in Gran Turismo 2, you could change your price car by save stating right before you cross the line. Once you load the state back, the game will give you a different price car. In Juiced 1 and Eliminator, there's a money exploit where you can set up a Class 1 sprint event, go into spectate mode, and if there's a Viper driver and all the other competitors are using the Z06, you can bet as much money as you can on the Viper and you'll get a guaranteed payout, because the Viper is simply just better than the Corvette. This is a trick that has been used in the world record speedrun for Juiced 1 to get lots of money very fast at the very beginning of the game. In Need for Speed Rivals, there's an interceptor event called Under Pressure, but instead of outrunning the cop, you can just beat the crap out of the cop until he loses health and you win the event. If you run out of power-ups, you can replenish them in a nearby gas station and try the challenge again. In LA Rush on console, you can drive any car you want before unlocking it. Simply select the locked car in your garage, then unplug your controller and plug it back. Press triangle to leave the garage and voila! You'll be driving endgame cars before getting them. There's a few out-of-bounds glitches you can do in Gran Turismo 4 with cars like the Ford Model T, where the wheel clips through a thin wall to get out of bounds.
Especially here is what you can do. You can just kind of... I may have sped the game up right now, but if you do this right, you can kind of just edge the car into the wall, and you can already see it's kind of starting to have some strange behavior. And there you go.
What the fuck?
But from this side it does actually work, and in fact you can... okay, wait for it. There you go. And now I am properly out of bounds. And now we can drive around however I like.
That is the most normal mistakes best Gran Turismo gameplay I've ever seen.
Yeah, I turned the Ford Model T into Jesus Christ, yeah.
In Burnout Paradise, if you choose the minivan of the Cars and Robbers DLC online, glitch it during a race at a specific point until it floats high enough, leave the lobby, you will spawn in your last single-player car but with advanced textures. Drive it to a paint shop and change the color. You now can apply a shifted version of it to the car you drove before that might not be able to take another color. Blur was actually meant to have a story mode with fully animated cutscenes, but it was cut, probably due to time constraints or to shift the focus towards online. You can actually find all the finished cutscenes on YouTube uploaded as a single video, and I must say they were well made.
No! I'm bugging! No internet! Can't get a signal! Tell me this is a dream!
On the bright side, they got food, gas, and miles of open road. So much for British manners.
What you say? You got a problem with us, mate?
No, I ain't got a problem. You'd have to be some kind of threat for me to have a problem.
Brooke Burke, aka Rachel Teller from Underground 2, is a playable character in Pocket Bike Racer, a Burger King licensed shovelware game released exclusively on the 360. The construction site at the old bridge and garage doors at the safe house are treated like barriers, just like neon barriers in a race. That's why when you deactivate barriers with a mod, you can drive to the old bridge as well as drive into the safe house garage. All races in Need for Speed Most Wanted are made up of about 15 checkpoints. Although difficult, it is possible to miss these, which freezes the race completion. The AI uses these checkpoints to navigate the race. The game has the hidden option to make these checkpoints visible as white cones. However, that option is only changeable through modding the game. And also, they are called Checkpoint Vortex. In Midnight Club 3, it's commonly known that when you're in the garage and browsing the vehicle select option, that the game starts to lag a lot. The reason for this is because 2 cars are actually loaded at once. Thanks to the new FreeCam mod, we can see where the extra loaded vehicle is. It's in some random area inside a building. Need for Speed Road Challenge, also known as Need for Speed High Stakes in the US, was the first game in the series to include a damage model. Not only that, it is the only Need for Speed game where the model doesn't reset after an event, meaning you have to pay extra to fix your car. If you don't, then you will get less when it comes to selling it. In Test Drive Eve of Destruction, you can re-roll the car sold in Sweeney's salvage yard by either race someone at TJ's Diner and Mouth Shop or Troy's Place, or go in and out of the paint shop in the garage. In Need for Speed Heat and Unbound, some of the NPC cars have livery based off a real-life race car. For example, Dex's A32 clearly is inspired by the original Godzilla A32 that won the 1991 Bathurst 1000. Some of the Ridge Racer games feature a minigame before the actual game loads, mostly for fun. But on Ridge Racer Revolution, if you manage to beat the bonus round of Galaga before the game starts, the game rewards you with various car alts fitted with liveries from various games, such as Dig Dug, Mappy, Xevious, and Bosconian, each featuring their own performance stats which can be useful for some drivers. It is widely known that Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit was the first NFS to have police chases, but it wasn't the first to have police. The original Need for Speed also had police, but they only patrolled the area and pulled you over. They never actually chased you. On MX vs ATV Unleashed, a game that seems exclusively to motorcycles and quads, the devs went for the fun factor and decided to also add various cars into the mix, including buggies, monster trucks, trophy trucks, golf carts, and even adding stunt plane races. Multiple games back then would often feature fantasy materials which frequently had vehicles with maximum performance stats but also went crazy with the racetracks. Examples such as NFS 1 for the PS1, Cruisin' World on the N64, Top Gear Overdrive, Need for Speed 3 PS1 would feature a racetrack on either the moon or a space station. In Gran Turismo 2, you can put dirt tires on a Ford GT40 and use it for dirt events, and surprisingly, it actually works really well. You can also do the same thing with a CRX Del Sol LM Edition. Rockstar added a few cool details while it snows in Midnight Club 3. 1. You can notice the pedestrians wearing winter jackets and shaking due to how cold it is. You can spot vehicles cleaning away the snow on the roads. Snowmen will start to appear in some races in Detroit, and you can equip a snowman helmet, and also it will start to melt over time. In Tokyo Extreme Racer Drift 2, the Togi aesthetics change slightly if you're on the day, official events with more presence of sponsors, or night where you can see the more raw and underground aesthetics. But also if it's clear weather or rainy also changes other aspects, like the crowd props wearing rain caps or umbrellas. A small but nice touch. NFS Payback has 4 songs that are locked exclusive to certain countries. You have Power by Contra K, a German exclusive, Kleine Jungen by Lil Kleine, a Dutch exclusive, Rap Lord by Haikas, a Brazil exclusive, and Daytona by Salmo, an Italian exclusive. In Gran Turismo 3, when a car with large rear overhang like the Suzuki Escudo is tuned to generate lift at the front, the large rear overhang is required so that the car can rest on its back while wheeling. However, since technically none of your wheels are touching the ground, the game thinks you're falling, and thus you exponentially gain speed until you hit the 32-bit integer limit. This also has the effect of maxing out your mileage and destroying your oil. In Gran Turismo 1 and 2, if you make the car point downwards, so low front and high rear ride height, the game just thinks it's going downhill all the time, giving you more acceleration where the car even moves forwards on a flat surface even if you do nothing. In Midnight Club 1, it is possible to softlock in the career mode. Depending on the order you're doing the last races of New York, if you don't get back in free roam on time, the street champion will never appear, meaning you can't challenge him. Both New York and London have the same issue. There's no way to fix this unless you restart from the beginning. The safe method while playing Midnight Club 1 is to get back to free roam after races no matter what. While not strictly a racing game, the Hack GU trilogy had a motorbike racing challenge mode you could race to win better motorbike parts. They could be cheesed with an exploit that would trick the game into believing you'd finish the race at the first checkpoint by opening your map right before a checkpoint and closing it. This was never patched for any of the remasters and made unlocking the parts ridiculously easy. In Toge Max 2, some cars are unlocked by completing the RPG mode with different paths of history or other modes beating opponents, but also at the time trial free runs you could find hidden areas on the map with hidden cars. If you touch the car, it becomes playable in the garage. In the Upper Afterlife Club in Mass Effect 2, there's a very familiar song for those who have played Need for Speed High Stakes. In Need for Speed Payback, one of the collectible chips is found on top of a crashed UFO. In Midnight Club 2, there's a cheat code known as Rimbook that unlocks all the cars and tracks in arcade mode. You can enter the same cheat code too in Midnight Club 3. However, instead of unlocking everything, you lose exactly $1 in the career mode. Funnily enough, if you type in KEMMEI, Rimbook but in reverse, you get exactly $1 added to your career mode. So if you have the patience, you can inflate your bank account in career mode if you type in that cheat code over and over again. In Split Second, there are currently 5 known out-of-bounds shortcuts that allow you to get faster times than normal. First, there's one on Canyon Detonator. If you gather enough speed, you can get below the dam without crashing. There will be an invisible wall to avoid at the end of the dam, but this makes the lap 3 seconds faster. Then there's the one in Ferry Wharf, where you can jump off the carrier on the side. If you do it correctly, the game will respawn you right before the finish line, saving you around 5 seconds. Next, there's the one on Port Bridge. Only doable in race mode. If you trigger the bridge route change with the correct timing, you can jump off the side and the game will respawn you much further ahead on the track, saving around 4 seconds. After that, there's the one at the airplane graveyard. This one is only doable on consoles because of track geometry differences. You need to hit a wall in a certain way that it gives you a big bounce over the walls of the track, and then you need to drive out of bounds for a little bit until the game respawns you way beyond the finish line. Save 7 seconds in Detonator and over 20 seconds in a race. And last but not least, Storm Drain. This track features a jump where with enough speed you can jump over the sidewalls. Jumping over them will only make you spawn back on the track in roughly the same spot. However, if you land on the fence in a very precise spot, you can get pushed off to the side, which will make you respawn near the finish line. This saves over 20 seconds over a regular run. There's an Easter egg in Pro Street where, in some race days, there's a chance to see an M3 E46 with the Most Wanted Hero vinyl in the background. In Project Cars 3, there's a hidden track only available if you select any Ferrari. It gives you access to Pista di Fiorano, which is Ferrari's privately owned test track. The bonus Corvette C6R is missing its driver and passenger window entirely in Most Wanted. There's a slightly complicated way of getting custom iridescent paints in the Crew Motorfest via the Crew 2. In Fighter's Mega Mix, you can unlock the Hornet stock car as a fighter.
Ready, go!
It even shows up as a boss battle with a special stage which also uses the King of Speed as its music. In order to help each other out to develop their games, both Criterion and Black Box would reuse something from their respective series. Black Box decided to reuse the traffic cars from Burnout Paradise. Meanwhile, on the other hand, Criterion would reuse the car sounds from Carbon, the most noticeable example being this car. In Hot Wheels World Race, there's a glitch called shuffling. When you drift on a nitrox strip, you can launch your car to exceed the speed limit up to 500 miles an hour. This method works best with Bart and Mark. You can get 70k in Test Drive Unlimited by doing a 20-second race. You just drive the opposite way and complete the event. In Need for Speed Payback, there's an exploit that allows you to multiply your NOS power and gain insanely quick acceleration by simply tapping the NOS button in quick succession after it starts depleting. In Driver San Francisco, there's a cut multiplayer weapon. If you charged it like a normal ability, you could take control of another player's car entirely. In the original Crash Day releases, not the Redline edition, you could get super acceleration by backing up into the map border, then letting go of the brake key and starting to hold the nitrous. The same effect could be achieved if you would do the same against any flat wall, though it is a bit harder to execute. Or if you do that in the middle of a reverse 180. The effect is still achievable in the Redline edition, but it requires modifying game files to turn off the forced speed limiter and enabling the speed bug back. In the same Crash Day game, you can get infinite points in the stunt show if you stumble upon two connected farmhouses. You just need to drive back and forth over their connection point, and the game will register that as a landing on the farmhouse roof. Best part is that the more you do that in a single combo, the more points you'll get each time it registers the stunt. In Hot Wheels World Race, if you finish the game and then get the last gallery, you will get a cheat code that you can input into the game. The cheat includes the reskin of 2 cars, and one of them includes the band that made the music in the intro of the game. In Forza Motorsport 4, there's an out-of-bounds glitch that you can do on Circuit de la Sarthe. If you line your car up just right and have another player hit you with enough speed, you can glitch out of the map and achieve a top speed of over 300 miles an hour. The Punto uses aftermarket Oz Racing rims as its stock rims, most likely being 19-inch Oz Racing Super Turismo LM wheels. In Rage Racer, rapid shifts up and down gives you extra acceleration to climb hills or crash into walls and cars without actually losing speed. In Kaido Racer 2, you can re-roll your start cars by starting a career, backing out, then starting a new game. In Tourist Trophy, when you equip the Sport exhaust, the actual exhaust pipe changes. In the Crew 2, when the race creator released, if you played a race that was less than a second long, you'd glitch the game, giving you infinite icon points, which you could then use to farm icon levels by leveling up the perks. This was shortly patched, but the accounts that reached max level stayed max level. And the last fact is about this channel you're watching at the moment. For 2026, my goal is to reach 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. However, I am quite far from reaching that goal at the moment. If you enjoyed this video and want to help me out, a like and a subscribe helps out a lot, and I hope you have a good day.